Tonight, police speak on an apparent confession that led to the discovery of a decapitated corpse. Police investigate threats issued via social media. And the Department of Human Services is called upon to do more to safeguard the nation's children amid frustration surrounding the alleged abuse of a 6-year-old. The details of these stories and more are coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Thursday, the 20th of February, 2020. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. I'm lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. The Royal St. Lucia Police Force held a press conference on Thursday morning to shed light on a number of matters hitting the headlines in recent days. One of those matters surrounded the apparent confession of a homicide, which has led to the discovery of a heinous crime. During the press conference, Public Relations Officer of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, Corporal Anne Joseph, gave the details on the fresh case.
About 3 p.m. on Wednesday, the 19th of February 2020, officers attached to the Beaufort Police Station responded to a report of a body at a location in Canals, Beaufort. The officers were able, through some search measures employed, to discover that body. It was found without a head. The head was later recovered by officers in Montcayenne, Beaufort.
Any identity on that body?
We're not able at this time to say conclusively that that person is anybody. What we can say is there is one individual we're looking into, but because of the state of decomposition, we cannot say conclusively. But we are exploring certain tests, including DNA analysis, to conclusively identify who that is. We can say it is a male. It is a young person.
One family has revealed on social media that the deceased is their young relative who has been missing for a number of days. And although the viral post reveals the name of the missing person, Corporal Anne Joseph said an identity cannot be confirmed at the moment.
We cannot give information into what we've discovered as yet. There will be an update on this matter. I do know that it is of interest, particularly with the report of the missing person that you guys are inquiring into. But we cannot give false hope. We cannot give we cannot give distress. We cannot cause distress to any one family. If we say that this is this individual or this is that, then we don't know. We have to get the facts together. And when we do so, we can make a pronouncement on what it is that we've discovered. But until then, we'd rather not make any assumptions or spread misinformation.
The details surrounding the case remain sensitive, and although the press office is erring on the side of caution with the information disseminated, it has also committed to keeping the public up to date on the matter as it unfolds. The top brass of the police force are not taking any chances and are going into full defense mode after an alleged threat was made against the force following the death of a young Wapatat resident in Odsa on Wednesday. When the news broke of the discovery of the body of Benjamin Cyril, a death shrouded in controversy as it is yet to be determined whether the 22-year-old was killed by police during a shootout, one individual took to social media vowing to avenge Cyril's death. The post also went on to encourage fellow bad boys to take action against the police. Well, the threat caught the attention of the acting police commissioner, Milton Daisy, who in response warned that the threats would not be taken lightly. And then he urged officers to pursue the persons making the threat to the fullest extent of the law.
To threaten police officers, I consider it very serious, and I would say it is a security concern for St. Lucia. I have instructed the police officers to investigate that matter, and as I said, to take that person to justice. Now, you will appreciate that various circumstances would require various means of solving the matter. I must say, if an officer is issuing a ticket, you will have an SPC going out there, issue a ticket probably no confrontation, just write a ticket, issue it to the driver. When somebody has made threats, very serious threats on police, we will get this person in. And of course, I will not send an SPC who has probably not been trained to get this individual. This individual will be caught and taken in, whether to answer to, well, the matter is being investigated, whether that person, the intention, as I said, is for this person to answer to the threats made.
The acting commissioner was asked whether he meant that the individuals would be taken in dead or alive. He said while such extremes are not the intention, the police will use whatever measures necessary to get the person of interest.
I don't mean dead or alive, but various, as I said, various situations would determine various actions by the police. If, for example, the person turns himself in, that is different. If the police go, they see the police, he gives up, that too is a different situation. But however, if the person is resisting, then the police deals with that individual differently, especially because of the threats that has been made.
Police are especially on high defense as the last time a similar threat was made back in 2010 by one Owen Jacob Jules. The situation ended with a shootout between Jules and officers Corporal Vincent Peters and his partner Timothy John. During the shootout, Jules was killed, but not before killing Corporal Peters and injuring Timothy John. A desperate plea is being made by a member of the public for authorities to act fast to get an abused child away from her alleged abusers. The concerned citizen has turned to the media as a last resort, as she said she is at her wit's end on the matter. For legal reasons, the details of the child cannot be published. However, the matter involves a 6-year-old who for years has been allegedly abused both physically and sexually by close family members. A source close to the family stated that she is fearful for the child's life as the child remains in the household, even though the matter has been brought to the police as well as human services on numerous occasions, and that the child, who has been vocal about her ordeal, has been interviewed by social services more than once. The source revealed that whenever the child speaks on the topic, she is beaten to the point where she came to school earlier in the week limping, just one day after being interviewed once again by social services. The distraught citizen said there are records of the child bearing marks of violence and abuse. She says authorities need to move with alacrity to rescue this child. In our Thursday newscast, we featured civil engineer John Peters making a case for an increase in the price of water. Here's a quick reminder of his comments.
The reality is that water is an expensive commodity, and it's costly both in terms of storage, in terms of distribution, in terms of treatment. And that is a factor that has to be considered in our whole governance at this point in time. There is a need for WASCO to be able to charge a proper cost for water. There is a need to ensure that also that you have adequate management within the organization.
We took to the streets to find out from you whether you would be willing to pay more money for water to ensure a reliable supply of the precious commodity. Here's what you had to say.
Yes, I am willing to, because I see nothing wrong with that, because as far as I know, that in St. Lucia, the water is very, the price is right. St. Lucians only complaining. I find the water is that expensive compared to the other countries. We St. Lucians always like to complain, but at the same time, they doesn't preserve water. They use water like it's wild, You understand? You have to use water very careful, because as you could see, as that problem occurred there right now, you see the kind of situation the whole of Castro is in. So I see nothing wrong if WASCO decide to bring up the water and we have to pay a little something more. But then again, I know some people will complain because of you have to check the wages on salary. all that have to come into play, you understand? But there's nothing wrong in that. With me, but I don't know with others. I know some people will disagree that, but I personally, I see nothing wrong in that.
No, I wouldn't pay more for Wasco because let me tell you something. Whether you have water or not is the same money you pay in. Sometimes 2 weeks I don't have water, I pay the same amount of money. Look, I have a bill there for $376 for hair alone. And what water are you using like that? I was me at my home sometimes for the whole damn hair. And I still have to pay a bill for 1 something, 2 something.
The body won't be able, they have to expect they'll pay a little something more. You know that, definitely. Because you are suffering, and since you are suffering and you want a better condition, you expect you have to pay something more. But it's what they will make you pay. It's the advantage that will be taken after doing what they do. That's the problem.
Hey, I'm not willing to pay anything because I'm living in Barbados and I have rivers. I have rivers, I have places where I can get water, so I'm not willing to pay more.
To me, I want to pay less.
But if it's more reliable?
Well, I can pay the difference. I can pay the difference, I no problem.
Wasco have to give people a fixed rate because especially the persons that do not have business places. And people that don't have business places paying too much money for water.
Once I get a good supply of water every day, I'm happy about that.
I live in Canaries, and we have problems with our water, loads of problems with our water supplies. And we're paying a dredging fee when they don't dredge our water supply. The water supply is right there, but we don't. We have a water shortage almost every week. We have 1 day, 2 days without water. We have to stay 1 day, 2 days we have water. So we have a big problem, and instead of we pay more, we think we should pay less.
Pay more only, yes, if it's very reliable, much better than how it is now. Because I don't get water home, it's only when everybody's sleeping. I don't know, I don't get water, except maybe 2 in the morning, and by that time I'm in bed. So if I don't look out for it, I don't get. All now, so I have no water. It's 3 weeks now, I have no water. No water came ever.
So even no reliable water supply. I not living up that side, I live in Seoul. I just get water twice a month.
So if it's reliable, will you be willing to pay?
But that I work in Wasco, I ain't talking up again to Wasco.
Oui, si mais moi je paye, mais si pas plus mais moi pas payer. C'est pour moi bon service. Ici ou quoi vendre camados, ou ni on qui pour tirer. Pour tirer. Ça c'est bon service, mais pas vendre bail pour moi là moi je vais jeter avec moi payer même pour bon de l'eau. Puis c'est moi les vétérinaires bon de l'eau. Tout en bas la société ni dame bon de l'eau. De l'eau à Calais, Calvan, Limo, Vin, Descend Castries et nous ni bon de l'eau. Je dois passer à bail mon là pour ouvrir l'argent.
Those were your views. An increase in ICU cases had led the Victoria Hospital to suspend day and elective surgeries as its operating theatre was overwhelmed by ICU patients. The situation has since normalized. The ICU is at maximum capacity, but there is no need for the operating theatre to house additional ICU patients. As such, Victoria Hospital's medical director, Dr. Alicia Eugene Ford, says the facility has been able to resume elective surgeries.
The Victoria Hospital would like to inform the public that we have already started elective surgeries and day surgeries. We now have 3 patients in the ICU department, intensive care unit, and we would still like persons to know that even though we have 3 patients presently in our ICU, we will want persons to continue doing what we had asked or requested earlier on, that persons follow the rules and regulations when it comes to traffic. Do not drive when you know you're drunk. Try to ride your motorcycles, but do so with a helmet. We're asking persons to resolve their conflict amicably, and also to take their medication and do the necessary so that we would have less persons coming into the Victoria Hospital when it comes to persons that would warrant ICU.
Health officials and stakeholders will soon meet to chart the way forward to deal with increasing numbers of ICU admissions.
What we have done at the level of the Ministry of Health is that we are working towards having a consultation sometime on the 5th of March with other agencies like the police, civil society organizations, churches. In that way, we'll be able to discuss and see what we can do to improve the situation we have on ground, which will ultimately improve our ability to manage cases within the ICU of Victoria Hospital. At our level internally, we are also reviewing our protocols when it comes to admission. In that way, we have a standard when it comes to who is supposed to come in at this point. In that way, we're not only working externally with agencies, but we're making changes internally to help the situation when it comes to ICU admission.
Any stress on the ICU ward at Victoria Hospital directly impacts members of the public who are supposed to undertake day and elective surgeries, since the operating theatre basically functions as a backup ICU ward. This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, Prime Minister Alan Shastney touts the stewardship of New CARICOM Chair Mia Mottley, providing training and employment opportunities for St. Lucia's unemployed youth. Members of the public get set to show their independent style, and Corinth Secondary School sports. All that and more coming up after the break.